The late autumn wind bit through her torn sweater like icy fingers. Her hands trembled, not from the cold, but from hunger and exhaustion. She stood barefoot on the marble doorstep of a grand mansion, her eyes fixed on the golden lion knocker glinting in the afternoon sun. The scent of roasting meat wafted through the door cracks, and her stomach twisted. She hesitated for a moment, then raised a trembling hand and knocked. When the door swung open, she whispered, "Can I clean your house for a plate of food?" Inside, the man who opened the door, Alexander Reed, stared at her like he'd seen a ghost. Alexander was a man the world envied. A tech millionaire by 35, he lived in a house where every room had a different view of the mountains. His closet was filled with tailored suits, and his garage sparkled with luxury cars. But no one saw how empty his heart was. He had built an empire but lost everything that mattered along the way. His wife had left years ago, unable to bear the stress of his obsession with work. His mother had passed shortly after, and he hadn't spoken to his younger sister in over a decade. Work had always been his comfort, and his curse. So when he opened that door and saw the gaunt, dirt-smudged face of a young woman barely in her 20s, wearing threadbare clothes and desperation in her eyes, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Recognition. It took a full 5 seconds before he could speak. "Emily," he breathed. She blinked, confused. I'm sorry, I just need some food. I can scrub floors, windows, anything. I'm not trying to scam you, please, just a plate of food." "No, wait." His voice cracked. "Your name. What's your name?" "Emily." His knees nearly gave out. It had been 13 years since he last saw her. Emily Dawson, the little girl who used to live 3 houses down from his family. The girl who used to ride her bike past his window and wave. She was only 10 when her parents died in a car crash. She'd been taken into the foster system, bounced from home to home. And then, she vanished. Alexander had searched for her once, briefly, when he heard what happened. But he was already a busy college student and his life was just beginning to speed up. The guilt never quite left him, but life has a way of dulling even the sharpest memories. Until they show up on your doorstep. He brought her inside without another word. She shrank away from the polished floors, afraid to dirty them. When he set a plate of steaming food in front of her, she wept as she ate. Not just from the food, but from being seen. He didn't mention her name again that night. He didn't want to scare her away with questions or pasts. He just gave her a blanket, a hot shower, and the guest room on the 2nd floor. But he didn't sleep. Over the next few days, Alexander learned pieces of her story. After aging out of foster care at 18, she struggled to stay afloat. Minimum wage jobs barely paid rent, and when she got sick and lost her job, the spiral began. She slept in shelters, sometimes in bus stations. For 3 days, she hadn't eaten anything but a bruised apple and tap water. "I don't want handouts," she kept saying. "I just want to earn what I take." But the more she spoke, the more he realized she had earned far more than she'd been given. She had survived horrors, abandonment, abuse, starvation, and yet, she still had kindness in her voice. She still smiled. One night, over tea, she finally asked, "Why did you look at me like that first day?" He paused. "Because I used to know a little girl named Emily. And she disappeared. I think I always wondered what happened to her." She looked at him, stunned. Then quietly said, "I used to know a boy named Alex. He had a treehouse in his backyard, and once he gave me a band-aid when I scraped my knee." He laughed through the tears. "That was you." They both fell silent. The past had returned in the most unlikely way.